Everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to integrate transformer.js inside your web app to have a QA type of mechanism, like question answer type of mechanism inside your web app. So let's get started. In case if you don't know transformer.js, like, it is a popular library through which you can use different machine learning models and do various kind of things. So here I'm just doing question answer kind of thing, but you can do much more, like removing background from images and I think sentiment analysis, those kind of thing. So here you can see that I have this particular text, and based on this text I can ask some question to this particular model which I am using, machine learning model which I am using. So suppose I want to know how many species are there, so I can just type how many species. Okay, so I don't know how to spell species. I'll just copy paste it. I'll click on click me, and here you can see it is downloading it. Downloading as in for the very first time it downloads it. For the next time it fetches the downloaded machine learning model. So for the very first time it might take a little bit of time, so be patient because it has to download machine learning models. But once it has downloaded, here you can see it was able to tell us how many species are there. Just to do one more, how many trees, how many individual trees. Okay, you can ask any question based on this particular text you have provided. If I click on click me, here you can see 390 billion. So let's see how to do this. So here I am using vanilla HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I have created this template using Vite, but if you want you can use a web framework as well. So firstly, inside package.json you can see I have ignored this Excel.js. We won't be using this. Don't install this. You have to install this Zenova transformers. So I have installed this dependency. Then inside index.html, here you can see I have just taken one div. I have taken one paragraph tag in which we will display the output, one input tag for asking the question, one text area for providing the content on which we will ask some questions. And here you can see that I have created one button as well for getting the text. And here I am loading our TypeScript file. Now if I go to my TypeScript file, the very first thing which I am doing is that I am creating a worker. So this is a web worker. If you don't know, typically like loading this machine learning model or downloading it on the main thread is a very bad idea. So in JavaScript, like in browser, we have something called web worker which creates a separate thread for us. So like doing all kinds of machine learning stuff, like once I ask the question, I forward it to this worker.js file which you see, and it does everything for us. So here firstly I'll show you worker.js. Again, I have created inside the src folder of mine where our main.ts file is also located. Again, but if you are using web framework, any web framework like Next.js, you will have to use whatever is the recommended practice. So here you can see I am using pipeline as well as env. Allow local models equal to false. I am not really sure what this is, but I have copy pasted it from the documentation. Now this self.add event listener message is called whenever from our main.ts we call this post message, right? We are sending message to the worker. So for the worker to receive the message, it has to call this event listener of message. So once we send the message to the worker, it receives it. Okay, I'll first explain you main.ts, that would be more easier. So here I have created our button. Here we are initializing our worker, that's fine. Then we are created button, paragraph tag, input as well as text area. Then ignore all this thing. Then on click of the button, I'm getting the text. So firstly, what type of machine learning model I want? So question answering model. So this, use the same name. Don't try to use your own name, otherwise this won't work. Then generation, I'm not really sure. This was in the documentation like an empty JSON object, that's why I'm using it. Then for context, whatever text we had inside the text area, that's what we are passing. And for question, whatever the user has entered inside the input value that we are sending. Yeah, sorry, coming back. So the task is question answering, generation is empty JSON object, context is whatever text you have, and question is whatever you have entered inside the input value. And once we call worker.post message, it comes over here inside this event listener. Okay, I'll come back to the code later on. But now once the worker is okay, so we are sending message to the worker. Okay, we'll come back to this later on. Well, let's go back to worker. So once we get the data, we use event.data to get this actual data which we are sending, this one. Okay, and then we just call this question underscore answering. So for this I have created a method. So firstly I have created a pipeline factory. Task and model is empty. Then here we are initializing tokenizer as well as our model, and here we are creating like getting an instance of our model which we have created. This is boilerplate code for transformer.js. Irrespective of what type of machine learning model you use, you have to write this bit of code. So even I have copy pasted this. Next I have created this question answer pipeline factory. Now again, this naming are important, don't mess up these names. So pass your task, pass your model. So this is the model which we are using. Now here you can see I have created this question answering function which we were calling over here. Now firstly we call this question answering pipeline factory dot get instance, pass our data. Then if it is downloading, then we send a download event. So once we call this post message, right, here you can see this event listener of our main.ts get called. So here if it is downloading, I'm passing this particular message. If it has finished downloading, if we got the answer, then I again send a post message. It is of type complete. So it is a continuous flow of information. So that's what I'm doing over here, and I'm returning the answer again. So this is your actual answer. So that's what is happening. And if you see over here, so here you can see here is our result. Now if you want, you can send this even if you don't send it, because this data which you are sending is very similar to this data which you are sending. That's why I have completely ignored this. If you want, you can keep it, but if you don't want, you can just remove this, something like this. Again, your choice, or do whatever you feel like. Now coming back to main.ts, here you can see once we get the message, we are just doing event.data. Then I'm checking the message.type. If it is download, then the text content of our paragraph tag is downloading, but here you can just display a circular progress bar or something like that. And if it is complete, then we are just getting the data from our message and displaying it inside the text content of our paragraph tag. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.